हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम टू माय चैनल अगेन। आज हम टारगेट 90+ सीरीज़ में महाराष्ट्र बोर्ड के सेकेंड चैप्टर का क्वेश्चन आंसर्स डिस्कस करेंगे। रिप्रोडक्शन इन लोअर एंड हायर एनिमल्स, जिसका वेटेज 6 to 8 मार्क्स है। सो लास्ट मिनट प्रिपरेशन के लिए आप ये ज़रूर यूज़ करें। One mark questions. Name the enzyme secreted by the prostate gland. The answer is acid phosphatase. What is glans penis? The swollen tip of external genitalia or penis in male is called glans penis. What is atresia with respect to ovary in human females? When large number of primordial follicles degenerate in the ovary, it is called atresia. Name the hydrolytic enzyme secreted by the acrosome. It is hyaluronidase. What is morula? The 16 to 32 cell stage developed during the cleavage of zygote is called morula. What is the function of inner cell mass? The embryo proper develops from the inner cell mass. Name the embryonic layer from which heart, blood and blood vessels develop. It is mesoderm. What is the use of tablet Saheli? It is oral contraceptive pill to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Give the function of uterus. It is the site for implantation where embryo develops. Comment on why testes are situated in scrotum. The scrotum maintains lower temperature than the body, which is necessary for sperm production. Therefore, testes are located in scrotum. Now 2-3 marks questions. सो डिपेंडिंग मैंने यहाँ पे सब डिस्क्राइब किया है, जैसे डायग्राम भी और डिस्क्रिप्शन भी, बट कभी कभी एग्ज़ाम में आपको सिर्फ डायग्राम पूछ सकते हैं या सिर्फ नोट पूछ सकते हैं, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आपको आंसर लिखना है। राइट अ नोट ऑन ब्लास्टोसिस्ट. इट इज़ द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ hollow and multicellular structure. The outer layer of morula cells are called trophoblast and inner mass of cells called embryoblast. The trophoblast and embryoblast are attached with the cells of Robber. By the 7th day after fertilization, the trophoblast absorb glycogen-rich uterine milk and form cavity called as blastocele. The blastocyst shows embryonal end and abembryonal end. और यहाँ पे डायग्राम है, ये डायग्राम आइडेंटिफाई के लिए भी आ सकता है। Draw well-labeled diagram of LS of human testis and describe. Testis consist of 3 layers: tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, and tunica vasculosa. Tunica vaginalis is incomplete layer, whereas albuginea, it is present inside the tunica vaginalis, middle layer, and vasculosa is thin vascular layer. The vasculosa layer divide testis into 200 to 300 lobules, and each lobe consists of 1 to 4 highly coiled seminiferous tubule. और यहाँ पे लेबल्ड डायग्राम दिया गया है। Explain the structure of Graafian follicle. It is a mature follicle. It shows 2 layers. Outer protective layer called theca externa, inner layer called theca interna. The theca interna also produces estrogen hormone responsible for endometrium development. Inside the theca interna, membrana granulosa layer is present. The granulosa layer forms cumulus oophorus and corona radiata. The fluid-filled cavity between oocyte and granulosa is called antrum, and the fluid is called antral fluid. और डायग्राम भी दिया है, सेपरेट डायग्राम पे भी क्वेश्चन आता है। ड्रॉ द डायग्राम. Give significance of fertilization. The secondary oocyte complete the process of oogenesis and transform into mature ovum. The diploid chromosome number is restored because of syngamy. The ovum lacks the centriole are received from the sperm during fertilization. The fertilization involves fusion of male and female gamete and result into variations. The variations are significant for evolution and the sex of offspring can be determined. ये आप रट्टा ही मार लो because it is very very important. Write a note on fallopian tube or oviduct. Fallopian tube is also called oviduct or uterine tube. It is a pair of muscular ducts that connect ovary and uterus. It is internally lined by cilia. Each tube is divided into three parts: infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus. Infundibulum is funnel-like part with central opening called ostium and surrounded by finger-like projections called fimbriae, and it helps in receiving oocyte. Ampulla, it is the middle long straight part region for the fertilization. Isthmus, it is narrow part which open into the uterus. Give an account on external genitalia in human females. External genitalia together is also called vulva, and there are different parts mentioned here. Vestibule, it is vertical depression which encloses vaginal opening and urethra. Labia minora, these are thin pair of folded skin. Labia majora, pair of fleshy folded skin makes the boundary of vulva and homologous to scrotum. Labia majora is similar to scrotum. Clitoris, it is small conical sensitive projections inside the labia minora and it is homologous to penis. इस पर भी क्वेश्चन आता है कि विच ऑर्गन इन फीमेल इज सिमिलर टू स्क्रॉटम एंड पेनिस. तो स्क्रॉटम के सिमिलर है लेबिया मेजोरा एंड पेनिस के सिमिलर है होमोलॉगस क्लिटोरिस. Mons pubis, it is fleshy elevation above the labia majora that shows presence of pubic hairs. Explain the structure of secondary oocyte. Diagram भी आता है separately as well as description. Secondary oocyte is non-motile female gamete and released during ovulation. It is without shell and have very less amount of yolk. Therefore, it is called microlethal. इस पे 1 mark question आता है why human oocyte is called microlethal. तो आंसर आएगा it is without shell and have very less amount of yolk. Therefore, it is called microlethal. The cytoplasm of egg is called ooplasm. It has large nucleus without centriole. The egg membrane is also called vitelline membrane that secrete glycoprotein membrane called zona pellucida. It is further covered by corona radiata. Corona radiata cells are attached by hyaluronic acid. The space between vitelline membrane and zona pellucida is called perivitelline space. The side having germinal vesicle and polar body is called animal pole, while opposite side is called vegetal pole. Write a note on cleavage during embryonic development in human fertilization. The zygote undergoes mitotic division repeatedly to form embryo. There is no growth phase between cleavage. Therefore, cell size is reduced after each division. The first cleavage occurs about 30 hours after fertilization. By the end of 4th day after fertilization, 16 to 32 cells are formed which look like mulberry fruit. Therefore, this stage is called morula. The morula shows two types of cells, outer cells and inner mass of cells. The morula reaches isthmus and enter into the uterus. What is lactation? Which hormone is responsible for its regular secretion? Lactation is a process of milk production from the mammary glands of female after the childbirth. The hormone responsible for it is prolactin. The lactation provides nutrition to the newborn baby. The first milk secreted is called colostrum. It is sticky, yellow fluid secreted by mammary glands. हाँ, कभी कभी शॉर्ट नोट आता है सिर्फ कोलोस्ट्रम पे, तो आप ये लास्ट वाले 4 पॉइंट्स लिख सकते हो। द फर्स्ट मिल्क सेक्रेटेड इज कॉल्ड कोलोस्ट्रम आफ्टर बर्थ ऑफ बेबी. It is sticky and yellow fluid secreted by mammary gland. It consists of protein, lactose, and mother's secretory antibodies (IgA). These antibodies help in developing resistance in newborn baby. Mention any 2 different goals of RCH. RCH provides reproductive child health care, provides facility and support for building reproductive healthy society. To manage 3 critical health indicators: reduce infertility rate in human, reduce infant mortality rate, reduce maternal mortality rate. What is MTP? Up to which month it can be done? MTP is medical termination of pregnancy. It is intentional or voluntarily termination of pregnancy before the full term. It is an induced abortion done in unwanted pregnancy or defect in the fetus. It is safe only till the first trimester or first 3 months of pregnancy. Describe the histology of testes. Very important with diagram या फिर only diagram आता है. So TS of testes consists of 3 layers: tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, and tunica vasculosa. The vasculosa layer divides testes into 200 to 300 lobule, and each lobe will have 1 to 4 seminiferous tubule. Now seminiferous tubule has spermatogonia cells and triangular Sertoli cells. The spermatogonia cells undergoes meiosis and produce sperms. The Sertoli cells provide nutrition to the developing sperm. The cells present between seminiferous tubules are called Leydig cells or interstitial cells. These Leydig cells secrete male hormone called testosterone, which is responsible for secondary sexual characters in males. Describe the histological structure of ovary. 3 to 4 marks question, जिसमें कभी कभी सिर्फ डायग्राम भी आता है और कभी डायग्राम विद डिस्क्रिप्शन. Ovary shows cortex region and medulla region. Cortex is outer region and medulla is inner region. The changes in the ovary are cyclic during each menstrual cycle. The cortex shows stages of oocyte development. During each menstrual cycle, one primordial follicle develops into primary, secondary, and finally into Graafian follicle. The primary follicle consists of central oocyte surrounded by granulosa layer. The granulosa layer increases to form theca interna and theca externa layer. The primary oocyte complete meiosis 1 and produce secondary oocyte and first polar body. It forms the space called antrum filled with antral fluid. The egg is released from Graafian follicle during ovulation on 14th day. The remaining part of follicle changes into corpus luteum and produces progesterone hormone. Describe the structure of human sperm with label diagram. Yes, diagram कभी label के लिए आता है, कभी draw करने के लिए आता है और कभी with description भी आता है. So it is motile microscopic cell. It is divided into 4 parts: head, neck, middle piece and tail. Head is oval in shape and contain haploid nucleus. It has acrosome cap-like structure above the nucleus that store hyaluronidase enzyme. Neck is very short region. It consists of 2 centriole, proximal centriole and distal centriole. Middle piece. It has axial filament surrounded by 10 to 14 spiral turns of mitochondria called Nebenкern. इस पे क्वेश्चन आता है what is Nebenкern. तो spirally folded mitochondria in sperm is called Nebenкern. It produces energy for the movement of sperm. Tail long and slender, tapering. This filament arises from distal centriole. The axial filament is partially surrounded by plasma membrane, and the part without plasma membrane is called end piece. Describe the process of oogenesis in human female. The process of formation of ovum or egg in the ovary is called oogenesis. There are three phases: multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. In this, primary germinal cells perform repeated mitosis and produce oogonia. This process is completed in embryonic stage. In growth phase, some oogonia increase in size and form primary oocyte. In maturation phase, it is initiated prior to birth of female child. The primary oocyte perform meiosis 1 and produce two haploid daughter cells. Out of these two daughter cells, one is large called secondary oocyte and other is small called first polar body. The secondary oocyte perform meiosis up to metaphase stage. At this time, the oocyte is released from the Graafian follicle. The meiosis 2 gets completed at the time of fertilization to produce second polar bodies and oocytes. Write a note on implantation. It is a process in which blastocysts get embedded into endometrium of the uterus. The zona pellucida layer gets degenerated and expose the trophoblast cell that divide and form syncytiotrophoblast and cytotrophoblast. The outer layer syncytiotrophoblast releases lytic enzyme and invade the endometrium. The embryo gets implanted by the end of 10th day after fertilization. Explain the process of parturition, that is delivery. It is a process of childbirth which involves uterus and abdominal contractions, dilation of cervix and passage of the baby. All collectively together is called labor pain. This process is controlled by neuroendocrine mechanism. The signal from fetus and placenta causes mild uterus contraction. The estrogen and progesterone ratio increases, which increases oxytocin. The oxytocin hormone causes vigorous contraction in the myometrium. This leads to the expulsion of baby from the uterus. There are three stages of parturition. Dilation stage, in which cervix and vagina gets dilated. Expulsion stage, embryonic membrane ruptures and fetus passes out. After birth, the placenta gets separated or removed from the uterus. Explain the three methods that can be used to overcome infertility. यहाँ पे मैंने सारे ही मेथड्स दिए हैं, इसमें से आपको जो इजी लगे, जो तीन याद रहते हैं आप वो लिख सकते हैं फॉर 3 मार्क्स, और 4 मार्क्स के लिए तो आप 4 लिखिए. Infertility is defined as the inability to conceive the naturally after 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse. There are various mechanisms to overcome the infertility. IVF, in vitro fertilization, in which egg and sperm is fertilized in test tube and later transformed. ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. It is done to remove blockage in the fallopian tube. GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. In this, sperm and egg directly transfer to the oviduct. ICSI, sperm is injected into the ovum in laboratory. AI, artificial insemination. The sperms are collected and introduced into the cervix. IUI, intrauterine insemination. In this, the sperms are introduced into uterus. Sperm bank or semen bank. It is a place where sperms are collected and stored. Adoption, it is a legal process by which couple get right and privilege for bringing the adopted child. Explain measures to achieve goals of RCH. So according to the marks, you can write 3 points, 4 points. Introducing sex education in school. by creating awareness with the help of audiovisual media, developing awareness about uncontrolled population growth and sex-related crime, to educate the people about sexually transmitted disease, care of pregnant women, and importance of breastfeeding, by creating awareness about child immunization program, by educating couples to have small families, by using various birth control methods. Write an account on seminal vesicle and bulbourethral gland in male reproductive system. सेमिनल वेसिकल का हम पहले डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखेंगे, उसका कंपोजिशन. इट इज़ अ पेयर ऑफ ग्लैंड प्रेजेंट पोस्टीरियर साइड ऑफ यूरिनरी ब्लैडर. इट secrete alkaline seminal fluid and contributes 60% of total semen. Its composition is fructose, fibrinogen, and prostaglandin. Fructose provide energy for the sperm movement. Fibrinogen help in coagulation of semen. Prostaglandin stimulate reverse peristalsis in vagina for faster movement of sperm. इस पे क्वेश्चन आता है. Prostaglandin, it is produced by male reproductive organ but it works in female. Second, bulbourethral gland is also called Cowper's gland. It is small pea-sized gland present either side of urethra. It secrete alkaline viscous mucus fluid which act as lubricant during copulation. Explain ovarian cycle with its different phases. Explain ovarian cycle with its different phases. Ovarian cycle is also called menstrual cycle. It is repeated every after 28 to 30 days. There are 4 phases. Pehla, menstrual phase 1 to 5 days. In this phase, blood is lost. The progesterone and estrogen level decreases. The endometrium lining breaks and discharges along with the unfertilized egg. During this phase, one primordial follicle develops into primary and secondary follicle under the effect of FSH. In second phase, which lasts up to 5 to 13 days, the developing secondary follicles secrete estrogen. This makes endometrium regenerate. The secondary follicle mature into Graafian follicle. Third phase, ovulatory phase, 14th day. The matured Graafian follicle releases secondary oocyte under the effect of LH, luteinizing hormone. The oocyte released in pelvic region is called ovulation. The fourth phase I missed here, secretory phase. तो heading डाल लीजिए वहाँ पे, secretory phase from 15 to 27 days. After ovulation, the empty Graafian follicle is converted into corpus luteum. The corpus luteum secretes progesterone that makes endometrium more thick. Explain the mechanism of fertilization in human. There are 4 stages: movement of sperm towards egg, entry of sperm into egg, acrosome reaction, and activation of ovum. So in पहले step में sperm moves towards the egg by capacitation. So capacitation, जिसमें acrosome becomes thin and allow the entry of calcium ions. The sperm becomes extra active and move upwards from vagina to uterus to oviduct. The oxytocin hormone helps sperm by contraction of uterus and oviduct. Entry of sperm into the egg. Out of 200 to 400 million sperm, only few reaches the ampulla and only from that one fertilized with the ovum. The acrosome releases hyaluronidase which break corona radiata layer and sperm reaches zona pellucida. Here it forms fertilization cone. Acrosome reaction, the sperm head comes in contact with zona pellucida. It releases zona lysine to break zona pellucida layer. The plasma membrane of sperm and egg dissolve. This convert vitelline membrane of egg into fertilized membrane. This prevent the polyspermy. इस पे भी 1 मार्क क्वेश्चन आता है. How in human being polyspermy is prevented. तो जैसे ही एक स्पर्म फर्टिलाइज हो जाता है, the egg membrane is converted into fertilized membrane. Fourth step, activation of ovum. With contact of sperm head, meiosis II is completed to produce second polar body and germinal vesicle. The male and female nucleus increases in size called pronuclei and they fuse to form zygote. This is called syngamy. Write in detail any 4 temporary methods of birth control. यहाँ पे मैंने बहुत सारे दिए हैं, आप इसमें से कोई भी 4 लिख सकते हैं depending upon your marks. Natural method, it is a week before and after menstrual bleeding is safe period. Withdrawal or coitus interruptus, in which the withdrawal of penis from vagina just before ejaculation. Lactational amenorrhea, it is absence of menstrual cycle during lactation period. Chemical means, in this use of chemicals like foams, tablet, jellies. Mechanical barriers like condoms, diaphragms or cervical caps. Intrauterine devices used by females, copper T, lip slope, and oral devices, contraceptive pills like Saheli. Explain the phases of trimesters of pregnancy. The human pregnancy lasts for 266 days from fertilization or 280 days from last menstrual cycle. It is divided into 3 trimesters. First trimester 0 to 12 week, second 13 to 26 week and third trimester from 26 week till parturition. तो यहाँ पे फीटस में क्या चेंजेस हो रहे हैं एंड मदर में क्या चेंजेस हो रहे हैं वो हमें लिखना है. फीटस में चेंजेस लाइक ऑर्गेनोजेनेसिस एंड डेवलपमेंट. द एम्ब्रियो इज कॉल्ड फीटस and the size reaches up to 7 to 10 centimeter. Fetus develops CNS, central nervous system, excretory organs and circulatory system. The mother feels morning sickness, nausea, vomiting and mood swing. In second trimester, where the rapid growth of fetus take place and it grow up to 30 centimeter, corpus luteum degenerate and placenta take over the production of progesterone hormone. The fetus also shows development of hair, eyebrows, eyelashes. The mother can feel the baby's movement. C. Third trimester, in which fetus grows and gain the weight up to 3 to 4 kg. The mother's abdominal organs become compressed and displaced. This leads to the frequent urination, digestive blockages and strain in back muscles. Give the fate of 3 germ layers. 3 germ layers से कौन से ऑर्गन्स बनते हैं वो हमें लिखना है. सो इसमें बेसिक आप याद रखिएगा, जैसे एक्टोडम जो हमारे बाहरी ऑर्गन से वो बनाता है, जैसे स्किन, हेयर्स, नेल, स्वेट ग्लैंड, सलाइवरी ग्लैंड्स, मेमरी ग्लैंड, सेबेशियस ग्लैंड, कॉर्निया, इनामल ऑफ टीथ एट्सेट्रा. मीसोडर्म से बनता है मसल्स जनरली, सो एक्सेप्ट आइरिस एंड सिलियरी मसल्स. All the muscles, connective tissues like bones, adrenal cortex, heart, blood vessels, kidneys, gonads. Endoderm, glands of stomach, intestine, tongue, tonsils, lungs, trachea, bronchi, larynx, vagina, liver, pancreas, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus gland. So 3-4 ऑर्गन्स के नेम आपको हर लेयर्स के याद रखने हैं. गिव परमानेंट मेथड ऑफ बर्थ कंट्रोल इन ह्यूमन. द परमानेंट मेथड ऑफ बर्थ कंट्रोल इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड स्टेरिलाइजेशन. इन फीमेल्स इट इज ट्यूबेक्टोमी. द फैलोपियन ट्यूब्स आर कट एंड टाइड. वासोक्टोमी, द वास डिफरेंस आर कट एंड टाइड इन मेल्स. डायग्राम भी दिया है यहाँ पे, कभी कभी ये डायग्राम के साथ भी पूछा जाता है क्वेश्चन. Give names of 2 sexually transmitted diseases with their causative agents and symptoms. syphilis, Treponema pallidum. Symptoms: canker on external genitalia, skin rashes, mild fever, inflamed joints, loss of hairs. Treatment: antibiotic penicillin can be used. Gonorrhea, Neisseria gonorrhoeae bacteria. Symptoms: blockage of urethra and pelvis, pain and burning sensation during urination, arthritis. Antibiotic cefixime. Explain the process of spermatogenesis. The formation of male gamete is called spermatogenesis. It is initiated under the influence of FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. There are three phases: multiplication phase, growth phase, maturation phase, and spermatogenesis. In multiplication phase, the primordial germ cells of seminiferous tubule perform repeated mitosis and produce large number of spermatogonia. In growth phase, some spermatogonia grows and form primary spermatocytes. In maturation phase, primary spermatocyte perform meiosis I and produce two haploid secondary spermatocytes. The secondary spermatocyte perform meiosis II and produce four haploid spermatids. D. Spermiogenesis. The length of spermatid increases, centrioles are rearranged, and mitochondria become spirally coiled. Here is the last question. Write a note on mammary glands. It develops under the effect of estrogen and progesterone. The lactotropic hormone or prolactin help in development and secretion of milk after parturition. These are the modified sweat glands. Each mammary gland is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes. Each lobe has alveolar glands and lactiferous duct. Alveolar glands secrete milk that gets stored in lumen of alveoli. Alveoli opens into mammary tubules. Mammary tubules join to form mammary duct. Mammary duct join to form ampulla, which is connected to lactiferous duct that opens at the tip nipple. सो आपको किसी और चैप्टर्स के क्वेश्चन आंसर्स चाहिए, आप कौन से बोर्ड से हो, आप अपना सिलेबस भी पीडीएफ में कमेंट में पीडीएफ में अटैच कर सकते हैं. उसके हिसाब से मैं आपको सारे क्वेश्चन आंसर सॉल्व करके दूंगी और इम्पोर्टेंस भी दूंगी. या फिर कोई डाउट है तो आप वो भी कमेंट में लिख सकते हैं. आपको और नोट्स चाहिए, इसके लिए आप मेरे चैनल को लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब करें. थैंक यू.